What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Design Simulator. Tonight, we have a very interesting problem statement for you. We're going to be looking at an AI Stories app. Now, this is a real app that has been funded by Y Combinator. And tonight, we're going to be going through the brief, helping you deconstruct and make sense of how exactly should you approach problem statements. And then we're going to show you some solutions, some actual real design projects that members from the 10K designers cohort have worked on. What's up, y'all? Let me look at the chat. So folks, if you're here, real quick, okay, I want to do some chat shout outs before we begin. So what's up, Mohit? Excited. And welcome to cohort 9, by the way. Mohit recently enrolled. What's up, Devanshi? What's up, Lalit? I want to watch Abhinav himself designing. Lalit, we should do that sometime. That's actually a good idea. Now, personally, I designed during these simulators, right? So these simulators that you're seeing, this is like towards the end of the cohort, what we did, right? But in between, I actually did do a lot of design. In fact, the program is designed by me, right? So that's the anyways, good point, bro. What's up, V? Hey, Apurv. What's up with spatial computing? Anyone designing for it? Chat, batao. I personally have not heard about that, Apurv. I have not really seen people get into it. Mostly, I think it's to do with that Vision Pro not doing so well. And so, not meeting forecasts. Hey, Bhavna. Sup, y'all. Hey, Siddhi. What's up, Wamsli? What's up, y'all? Okay, let's jump in, okay? We have a really nice episode tonight. And real quick, let me bring in my co-host for tonight. What's up, Shai? How are you doing?
Hey, hi guys. This time it's going to be awesome, I hope. And I'm very excited for the mobile app redesigns.
Mm. So, folks, tonight we're going to be going through an app, right? If you've been watching with us, this particular series, the last two episodes we did were website design. Tonight we're going to be doing app design. In the cohort, we do both. But, in terms of episodes, we're kind of going a mixed bag here. But Shai, you've seen this already, but this is our brief for tonight. We're going to be going through this. Heads up for folks, I will be sharing this Figjam. Shai is lead product designer at Freshworks. Shai is actually also going to be joining us in this upcoming cohort as an industry mentor. So Shai, this is a nice kind of preview into how we do things. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Folks, ready to jump in? Are we ready to check out URI? That's our app for today. URI. All right, let's jump in. So first up, folks, what exactly is the app? This I found this startup while doing some research into some recent Y Combinator startups. So now that ChatGPT came out a couple of years ago now, I think it's been like what 1.5, 2 years, not 2 years, 1.5 years maybe. It feels like just yesterday. But anyway, the interesting thing that I observed is a lot of Y Combinator startups. There's a lot more consumer startups now. So what I had observed is over the last couple of years, a lot of YC had just become straight up B2B, and so very interesting. Very interesting. Consumer apps are back, and this one integrates AI in an interesting way. And pretty much what it is, okay, check this out, Shai. So this is the existing app. What they do is so this is a new startup, recent batch, Y Combinator. This is their very early mobile app, right? So my guess would be this is their kind of MVP. And so given that it's an MVP, we noticed a bunch of issues. There were, it wasn't as good as it could have been. Opportunity, right? Not exactly a problem. It was an opportunity. Um, and yeah, this is just at a glance. Hmm. Folks, I just thought I'd include a little meme here, okay? Let's watch this. Have you guys seen this?
हाय हाय ये देखो कालू डर रहा है, हाय हाय हाय। अरे भाई कितना प्यारा, ये आया भूरी, ये आया भूरी।
So, folks, Woori. That's what we're going to be doing today, right? Woori. कौन है ये कालू जो डर रहा है? Like, who's this dog here? It's Wattpad, right? This is the space we're in, the space they're operating in. It's not new, right? Companies like Wattpad have existed for a while. But from a business perspective, what's new? What's their competitive advantage? And one big one that they definitely have is that using AI, they are able to bring a new life to stories, right? Visuals. I should close my window. They're able to bring new lives to stories, right? So what I see that they're doing is they are kind of aggregating a bunch of content. I guess some of them is their own, some of them I think maybe they're using some additional sources, but they've um, they've used AI to create this nice visual storytelling format, right? So seeing the story come to life, that's the idea. And interestingly, Shai, two founders, both I think currently based in Bangalore. So like ex Flipkart, ex Swiggy, building something interesting. So I was like, wow, like this is a very interesting problem statement. Yeah. So your thoughts, Shai, before we jump in?
So, Uri is like a bite-sized way to learn or consume knowledge, right?
Hmm.
If I'm right.
I wouldn't say
Uh,
knowledge. It's I would say it's mostly stories, right? So my guess would
uh-huh.
be there. It's more of the entertainment use case. Yeah.
So has I mean I didn't get the time to test out the app, but
Hmm.
a quick question to you: is Uri able to produce these content through AI?
Yes. So all of
Wow.
these stories, I mean, you can kind of tell, but these all these images are AI generated. So my guess, what they're doing in the backend is they're taking the
Yeah.
story, they're kind of chunking it, and they're creating it into the stories format with visuals. Yeah.
Uh, I've come across a lot of products that were trying to do this. When I was building a bite-sized learning platform,
Mm.
I came across a product called as Headway, which was actually short-ended, bite-sized novels and
Mm.
books. And they were trying to do the same thing. They had an experimentation where they were able to animate and stuff like that. There was Khan Academy trying to do this. I'm very excited to see how bite-sized knowledge is being adapted right now.
Mm.
All because of
Yeah.
reels, right? Like all because of shorts from YouTube and all of it.
True. Yeah, in fact, I've started seeing these on Reels also, where a lot of they just add a background music track. There are some
Uh,
scenes, and it's just like instead of a stories format, like yeah, I'm seeing the Reels of similar format as well.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. Let's check out some competitors, right? Let's see what people have looked into. Before we get in, folks, all of you here, just want to give you heads up. I will be sharing this Figjam a little bit later, though. If you want to learn more about what this is all is, right? If you're like this is if this is by chance the first episode you're watching, you're like, yo, what exactly is going on? Check this out, right? This was we're giving you a little bit of a sneak peek into the cohort that we run. You can check out what that looks like here by month, what your typical week might look like if you enroll in the cohort, and it's really designed for folks who are maybe starting in their career. So maybe you know the basics of Figma. You're still trying to figure out how do I enter the industry though? How do I build projects? And very interestingly, I think about a third of people enrolling in every single cohort are actually experienced designers, people who've maybe been in graphic design, maybe in product design as well, but maybe they've not had a chance to work on interesting problem statements. Maybe that company that they're in does not give them a lot of growth. And one of the most common questions I have observed is how do I pick briefs? Like, yeah, sure, you're telling me I can do portfolio projects, case studies, but how do I even get started? So, what we've done in the cohort is, we have one assignment per month during the cohort. And this particular one, let's see where Woori is. I think this is Woori right here, Startup 20. But this is one of the briefs that we've done. Anyway, you'll find all the information here. For now, let's jump in. Chat, are we ready to jump in? Okay.
Absolutely, man.
So the first app you mentioned, Shah, you mentioned Headway. I think I've seen Headway as well. I think I've seen their Instagram ads.
Yeah.
Here, though, I think some of the references, I think Headway, their whole thing is around books. If I remember correctly, it's more about information learning.
Yeah.
These, I think, are specific to literature. I don't know if that's the right term, literature. Let's just say
Stories.
stories.
Notes.
Stories. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the better one. And so this is Wattpad. Now, folks, real quick in the chat, what are some other apps you've seen? Like, I just really quick want to know from all of you, what's a similar app you've seen, right? Let's make this a bit interactive. Of course, Wattpad, one of them, right? We'll check in. We'll go into some of these others. Web novel. Shai mentioned Headway. Have you checked out or have you come across any apps like this? Let me know in the chat. Okay. So this is Wattpad. Mm-hmm.
I've come across a stealth product that actually did this. It didn't
Oh, yeah.
exactly do this. They were the SaaS of what URI is trying to do. Seven
Mm.
taps. It's like micro short-ended learning, and they used AI like Synthesia AI as their engine to generate content and videos. So
Mm.
they did this even before ChatGPT was a thing. So that was like super way back when the adoption of ChatGPT happened, and
Mm.
that was very very good. I think they're doing really well right now also.
Mm. Interesting. I'll put a link to these, okay? 7 laps and Headway. Okay.
7 taps.
7 taps, okay.
So basically like 7 times tapping micro learning.
Okay, making it bite size basically.
I-
Mm. Let's see in the chat. What else do we got? Pocket FM. Yeah, I think Pocket FM. I've not used it, but my guess was it was more audio based, right? Have you used this, Shai? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. So we're looking at right now. We're looking at some of Nandika's explorations. Like we'll get into some of the proper this thing, the solutions, but let's try to identify what some problems are, right? My initial understanding when I went through this was given that they have a given that they're fairly new, I could notice a lot of issues. Like some of the issues were, maybe directly in the UI. But when I saw this app icon, I was like, okay, maybe that's not. Um, it gave me a little bit MVP vibes. But going a little bit in depth, right? So Nandika did a quick audit. Let's go through this. So this is their homepage. Very Netflix style UI. But I think personally for me, one of the things that I thought was the biggest opportunity here is there is zero brand. If you really notice, right? Like once I open the homepage, I have no idea which app I'm on. Now, in terms
Yeah.
of vibes, it feels like Netflix. But in terms of the covers and this thing, like I could be inside Wattpad and not know. Like I think one of the biggest things I noticed was lack of brand. And lack of brand, I don't just mean, logo dal do upar, like let's just put a, Wuri over here. But like there's no interesting, like their typeface, I think they're using something standard. Their brand colors, I think they've used orange, but not really used in the app in any interesting way. Um, it worked though. Like we were able to read stories and stuff, but again, quite basic. Um, and so my main thing was, given that um, Wattpad itself is a competitor, right? And Wattpad's been around for way longer. I think one opportunity definitely is how can I create a better brand? And additionally, going through, I also noticed they're actually a lot of their stories are from Wattpad. So I think they have a mix of sources at the moment, and what they're doing is they're building this experience on top of it. Uh, but yeah, mm. Some issues though. Let's see. No search bar. Okay. I don't think there was a bottom bar here, so you cannot really search and go by category. They do have categories as these sections here, so you can kind of scroll. What's at the bottom? Okay, they have a footer.
Abhinav, do you get this feeling that
Hmm.
maybe they don't have much content?
Hmm. I have a feeling that um, they do, but I think they don't have their own content yet. So my
Ah,
guess is they are working on their own content, but in the meanwhile, they're seeding the app with external content. And so I noticed this Wattpad.com in some screenshots. I noticed tapas.io. That's, I guess, another one here. But yeah.
but actually, Uri's statement, I just read about it.
Mm,
It's about creating visual storytelling for anything on the web.
mm,
So they're basically scraping data to possibly create these stories. And
mm.
that's the USP, I guess.
Could be. Yeah. Right now, so what you're saying is these guys, their USP is that they are an aggregator.
Yeah.
They bring it from all sources. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's not being told by the brand. Like, even if that's a statement that they are going by in the App Store and Play Store that they have,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like you said, the brand is not actually conveying that. When I look at Uri as an application or as the icon,
Mm,
uh, it's nowhere related to visual storytelling. It's just like reading something or like
mm,
consuming something, right? In any format. Um, and the Netflix vibe kind of gives a video vibe, not a, I don't know, there's something like
mm,
maybe it's just in an unsettled manner that it's not able to figure out what it really is. I think, yeah, the brand
mm.
needs to be worked
Yeah.
out a lot.
And I get it, right? I think it seems like they're so early that this is like we kind of caught them at an MVP stage. So
Yeah,
maybe I think, and I think these guys, so W24, right? That's like right now.
right
Or
now. Yeah,
no, wait, W24. That's, wait, I don't know how
last
exactly it's in, but most likely this year they're in Y Combinator, right? So either they've just finished it or they just enrolled.
yeah.
Um, okay, but let's check out. So some issues, maybe I won't go through this because I haven't checked out the full app, but Nandika has just a quick audit here. Completion bar. Some of these do just seem like tech issues, like bugs. Um, okay, cool. What are some other apps? Let's check out. Um, okay, wait. Let's go to Nandika's notes. Very pretty looking notes. I love it when designers do this, like when they include their iPad notes. It just gives such a organic vibe. I love seeing this stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
not so readable, but okay. Mm. Have you used Pratilipi, Shaya?
No, man.
Okay. Yeah, I've checked it out. Not really fully used it. But I think in India, Pratilipi right now is one of the top apps in this space. And in fact, head of design at Pratilipi, Ankit, he's one of our mentors. And we in fact had a capstone from Pratilipi as well. But anyway, what
Nice.
else? We've got web novel. Hmm. Interesting design, this web novel. Like a mix of light mode and dark mode. Um, okay.
This is the brand that I was talking, right? Like when we look at web novel,
Hmm.
it gives me that vibe. It gives me that, okay, maybe it's gamified, but not specifically bite-sized.
Hmm.
Some sort of consumption, but a different one. It's not the same as any other platform.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Well, it'll be a mix of.
One thing I do observe though, given that it is, my observation is, I think the information architecture, like designing one of these apps, information architecture seems quite standard, like in the sense that it is in the end, you need to, like the information architecture needs to be one where you can browse a lot of content, right? So I think keeping it similar to Netflix or even these guys, very similar, let's say, to Instagram, where you've got an explore tab, you've got your profile, you've got featured, which I guess is another type of discover. Um, And I guess one of the biggest challenges designing an app like this is you got to have really good information architecture such that discovery becomes easy. And discovery can happen like, lots of ways. It can be category, it can be search, it can be, through recommendations. Okay.
Abhinav, on
Okay.
that context, how
Hmm.
often do you use voice search? For an example, in Zomato or
Voice.
Swiggy. Yeah.
Bro, I think I've never ever used voice search. Like my
Am I
only
the only one who does that?
you use voice search? Tell me
I
some
always use
apps that you use it for, like where
Zomato.
okay. Hmm. I think I
It's,
use voice
I
search
mean,
only in Siri where I'm like, hey, set an alarm or something like this. Search though I don't really use it. Hmm.
it's addictive, man. You should try it.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So these are our references. Okay. Let's go through a few more. Maybe let's see if there's some observations we can make, and then we'll jump into some designs. Okay, some nice UI inspiration. I guess this is from Dribble, but a good example though. Feels a little bit unrealistic, but not so bad. Pretty nice UI. Mm, this is Fable. Okay, Fable is also a similar app. Hmm. Okay, Jamio. Interesting. Mm. I think one observation I'm making here is, we talked about this idea of discovery. I'm just trying to think how do people make a decision on what to watch? Like, like I'm just thinking in terms of Netflix. The way I look for what to watch is, of course, just recommendations. Unless I have a search thing, then I go direct. In this case, though, these are not. I don't think these are like popular. Like they're not like popular like Netflix shows. So, I'm just curious to know what's the criteria, decision criteria. Like based on Wattpad, given that they're top, like let's ignore this, which is for revenue, just CTAs, but their top one is in India. So nice to see that localization here. Um, and let's see, when you click on one of these, it shows you this. Interesting, I think that they include these stats because I think the kind of content is here. It's like you've never heard of it, but when you're like, oh, 60,000 people have read this, that kind of adds that social proof of, oh, I should probably, like, this probably an interesting thing to watch because of this. 30 parts though, so not very bite sized, I would say, right? Quite long, 4 hours. Hmm.
Possibly this is an aggregator. It's not a bite-sized platform.
Yeah. No, I don't think Wattpad is bite sized for sure. Yeah, I think Wattpad I think Wattpad started as fan fiction. So, I mean, for those who maybe use WhatsApp, maybe you understand this meme. But Wattpad basically, I think they've been around for a while, but I think what they are most popular for is like um, fanfic, like like and let me be specific, a lot of like sexual fanfic where people write their own version of Twilight, but it's like, oh, they're doing some other stuff. Although I don't think that's what they are now, but I think that's what they were known for, like back in the day. Okay, should we jump into some solutions, Shai? Yeah, let's browse.
Yeah, and that would be.
Let me open the prototype. I think that would be a good way to browse.
And how much time did these designers take to create the prototype? Like, and the
So our the duration of this assignment was, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. So you can assume that people worked on this over 3 weeks, and then maybe maybe another 1 or 2 weeks after the cohort ended to polish or maybe put together the case study.
That's super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, folks, let's go through. Okay. We're going to go through this prototype. Experience reading like you're living it. Okay. Okay. I just want to get to the main. I'm going to skip the onboarding. Okay. So onboarding, personalize your library. Okay. Genres. Let's pick some. Okay. Library, recent reads. So recent reads, this is for returning users. If you're not a returning user, I guess this section won't show up. Recommended for you. I like the small detail here. I just noticed this. Like they've got this edge over here, making them look like books.
That's
It's a
nice.
nice detail. Looks interesting on this. Okay, so recommended topic. Spacing issue. Yeah, but okay. Right. And then mysteries. Oh, quotes. Interesting. Okay, fantasy. From Wattpad. Shuffle button. Nice idea, I feel. Because personally, like the way I feel about it is I would not know what to start with, especially if they are 4 hours and all. I'm like, I don't know how to make that decision. Could be interesting having that. Okay. Short reads. Oh, got it. Other than that, we've got search. Okay, nice. Good idea putting GIFs. Bookshelf. Slightly odd micro interaction here. The search bar shifted. Do all of them have some micro interaction? Yeah.
Yep.
I think this is done with just some simple Figma prototyping or something. Yeah. Okay, cool. So my guess, okay, so the simple, so one thing I think Nandika has done different from the existing app is she's added a bottom bar. So library, search, and my, like my stuff. So like bookshelf, what I have read, saved for reading, as well as completed and quotes. Search has discovery, standard layout. You can search by tag or you can search by category. Okay. Library. I want to go into one particular one. Let's see what it's like to Figma. This prototype is really lagging though. So, I mean, not really the designer's fault, but yeah, I don't know. All right. So chapter 1. Okay. I think I clicked on continue reading. So let's open a new book. Okay. So rating. Okay. Maybe a trailer. Okay. Let's come back to some static screens. Okay. So, I mean, this should be splash. Splash screen. Okay. So top level feedback. I think the information architecture is clean, right? I did notice some issues. Like I'll just give one or two, and then Shai, I'll give it to you. Some issues I just observed. Like your heading here is Ahana's library, but I noticed that in the onboarding you don't actually ask me for my name, right? So I'm assuming this is the user's name, Ahana, but Like here, the name is not really asked, right? So I think that's an issue. If there was a sign up with Facebook or Google, then you can automatically get the name. But I think if you're just getting emails, that's a possible issue. Personally, I would probably maybe just put Wuri's logo on top. But yeah. Any observations, Shai, as you're going through?
Three things, man. Like I was just obviously the information architecture is really nice. What URI lacked has been kind of sorted here. Although I still have the search being the way the search has been architect, the way it has been structured. Uh, this feels a little bit overwhelming. Maybe I would have had tabs to filter it out as a global level and then search it. Maybe a more intrinsic way to do filtering. That's something that we could have thought of. It just feels like the search is not usable or actionable. Like it just feels really overwhelming at this point, right? And second part to it is like what Deep Stash has done, right? Deep Stash is a way of creating bite-sized content on the internet from all the blogs that are there in the globe on the internet, right? So what they do is like they basically have a social feed where Abhinav is also there. I'm following Abhinav. Like if Abhinav actually goes and likes a post, then what happens is like that gets recommended on my feed, right? So the indecisiveness of what to learn can be kind of sorted out with a social angle or an aspect towards it, like maybe a community front, right? That could have been kind of sorted out. But the way Deep Stash does it, it's like a chronological, but then it's majorly about how many people find that insightful. It's just like four-liner context, and then you read it, you find it interesting, and then you go forward with it. Because I'm not really a fan of reading the number of time or consumption it takes to consume a content. Like for an example, the book that you opened, it's like 35 minutes or like 20 pages. And then it's not something that actually matters to me, whether the content is valuable or not. Maybe a
No,
four-liner
but
or an import context from it
yeah.
could have asked my attention. Is maybe a bias from my end, but that's the thought that
See,
I'm having.
I get what you mean. One, I think one thing though is Deep Stash is educational. Like you're supposed to learn stuff. I think that does change a bunch of stuff where like this is like opposite of educational, right? Like you're not really coming here to learn anything. It's just
Yeah.
pure entertainment. So
Uh,
do you think that changes?
have you
Yeah.
watched the Laughs for Netflix? So
No.
what it does it do is like basically it chooses the comic part of certain movies or series that they have. It comes as a reels inside Netflix.
Okay.
So they have just taken the most interesting part of the context, made it into a reel, and that will direct you to the content. So some sort of segue like that. Just know the context. It can be a very important statement or a line that's been conversed in the novel. Could have been thrown out and that grasped my interest. Maybe people could highlight the content. I found this like how Medium has, right? Like I found this valuable. Some sort of social angle to it could have reduced the indecisiveness for me. That's the thought that's on top of
Got
my
it.
mind.
Got it. We need some chats as well. Sleaziest fanfic. See, I would say the social thing, this is maybe a factor, which is a lot of this stuff is sexual. I don't think you want your
Oh,
people knowing their. I mean, I guess it's not all sexual, but it's. Poor says sleaziest fanfic. Yes, I think so. Okay, heard about Wattpad, never used these. Okay. Slick says, I don't really see what we're trying to solve here. Apart from translating novel to visuals through AI. Feels like problem is small and we have just added AI on top to convert to visual. See, I get your point, Slick. But the point is these guys are an early stage startup, right? And so I think that's totally normal in early stage startups where you have to figure that out. And so let's separate that, right? Like from a founder perspective, yes, this is a very big deal. You have to think about, is this a big enough problem to solve and how do we make it so? How do we go after a good market? From a designer perspective, though, I don't think you need to be so concerned about it because, see, these guys have raised funding, which goes to show that they clearly have some vision. Otherwise, they would have not been able to raise from YC. And as a designer joining an early stage company, I think this is what you sign up for, right? You sign up for this total unpredictability where you progressively build prototypes and you kind of find your way towards what your product market fit is, right? So as a designer, not bad. I think it's a good opportunity. But I get your point though, Slick. Um, if you've never worked in early stage, I can understand that this might feel like overwhelming, where it's like, bro, what are these doing? But I will just say it's not fair to judge an early stage startup with the same heuristics that we would judge a mature startup, right? Like Wattpad has been around for 10 plus years. Wuri's been around for less than 1 year, right? So of course it's much harder for Wuri to figure out, um, which is actually in terms of design. Then it shows that you can take multiple paths, right? Like in some ways, the earlier a startup is, the more risks they can take because they've not exactly found one thing that works, right? They've not found PMF or product market fit. So I would say, in terms of a design perspective, how does it change when you're in early stage? I think you can be a little bit more exploratory when you're in early stage, right? You could do more, like let's say, wild concepts. In this case, though, I would say, given how early they are, I don't think they need wild concepts. I think they need a baseline. They need a good baseline product that they can build on top of. Um, as a designer at
What's your
Woody,
take
though,
on?
I would guess you would do a lot of prototyping. Like for example, the ideas that Shai shared, right? See, we won't know whether it works or not till we actually do an experiment to try it out. Um, and yes, consumer in general, very difficult space, right? Because people already have their preferences and habits. Um, okay.
And Abhinav, about the accessibility, like,
Hmm.
what's your take on it for both Uri and the project that has been redesigned?
Hmm. In terms of Woody, I mean, going just purely based on that first initial screen, it didn't feel
Yeah,
great
yeah,
to me, given that they're using transparency and whatever.
yeah.
I didn't have any specific thoughts on accessibility though. What are your thoughts? I didn't think about it from an accessibility perspective. What would you say?
I'm just worried about color-blinded people, like people
Hmm.
who are not. I mean, it's context. It's just readable material, right?
Hmm.
Um,
So let's look at the reading
is there
screen
too
then.
much?
This one.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not scalable. Like, I'm not really sure. Um, I've seen,
Hmm.
I'm not able to find that application. I'm just using my phone from that time to figure out that app. What they have done is, like, in-house, they produced animated content for every text of
Hmm.
this bite-sized
You're talking about some
material.
different startup.
Yeah, man, I'm not able to find that app.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
they're shut down.
Hmm.
So it's a crazy app. And what they have done is, like, they made sure that visually the context in a place where there is no background or there is no disturbing element around it.
Hmm.
So accessibility is a very crucial part of what. I'm very sorry for the background noise, but it's a very crucial
Not
part of
not so
both.
audible. Yeah.
Uh, Very crucial part of both what Uri and
Hmm.
here, right? Like, I think I'm maybe a little more uh, glassmorphism could have been avoided, or
Hmm.
maybe the animated part could be in a different container, like, which is not a part of the text. I know it's visually beautiful, but then
Hmm.
uh, accessibility is kind of hindering over
Hmm.
here.
Got it. And you're saying primarily as in the contrast for the text or anything specific?
Yeah, contrast on the text as well as, like, on a scalable level. Think about this: like, if more animated
Hmm.
elements are behind it, the context with the glassmorphic effect behind the text is going to
Got
keep
it.
changing the color,
True.
right? And if there's a white content, it's going to become even more
True.
historically. I
True.
mean, like, scalably very difficult for reading.
Hmm. Yeah.
And here also, like, the I just played the prototype right now. So
Hmm.
what DeepStack does is, like, maybe I'm really biased towards what they have done. It's a
Hmm.
really good app. You guys should try it out.
Hmm.
What they have done is, like, they have split the content into multiple containers.
Hmm.
So when you scroll container, it's not an internal scroll. It's basically a card that's being slid.
Hmm.
So it'll be like paragraphs that are read by AI
Hmm.
and properly made into a card, right? Like, properly contained into a card.
Hmm.
So that is kind of giving the feeling that, hey, you don't have to do an internal scroll or
Yeah.
have to worry about
Hmm.
that.
I
So
agree
that's
with
something
you
that
on
we could.
that point. Like, I don't think this is the best solution. Like, maybe this is just in the prototype. Maybe you meant to do something else, Nandika. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea using just half of the screen as your like reading window. So definitely, I think scrolling this instead of an internal scroll, like Shai mentioned, probably be better to make it that way. Okay, so this is chapter. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm personally not a fan of the glass. See, I don't want to call it glass morphism because it's just blur, right? It's we like iOS has had that since iOS 7. Um,
Yeah.
but okay. So wrapping up, right? My like final thoughts on this. I would say the reading experience could use some work in the sense that um, some things to think about. The glass morphism, right? I think maybe it's better if you use a more solid background here, especially if this is moving. Maybe the background changes too much. Just a note there. I would probably try just a dark card on this. Other than that, the reading experience, maybe I wasn't able to get a clear idea of the text, but this definitely does not work. Like just scrolling within that. Outside of that, though, just a final note I would say on just the reading experience. Um, I don't like. I know you've used the Ghibli scenes to make it look better, but I think you should get into some AI stuff, like in the sense that try generating a real AI image so that you have an idea of how realistic it is. Like, for example, in this case, I know it's a beautiful GIF, and so it'll look good in the UI. But let's say there are 10,000 books, right? You will not be able to keep that same level of quality across all. And so maybe a more conservative design, which works even when the image is not so great, right? But I would definitely suggest generating some AI stuff. So that's my scope of improvement. Other than that, though, I think you've done a good, like in terms of the brief, right? By the way, Shai, I saw this tweet today, which I really kind of like, which is I think it was some designer from was it Stripe or in the US, and basically their advice was when giving design critique, don't say like you can say I like this and I don't like this, but don't forget about works and does not work, right? Like just as
Uh,
important. So my feedback to you, Nandika, is this works like this the um, information architecture you've laid out. It is an improvement over the current. I can say that, which means you were actually successful with the brief. Number two, it does have a kind of, let's just say, a good foundation on which future stuff can be built. Um, and by that, I mean like the information architecture, the layout, and stuff that you have. However, this I think does not work, or let's just say works in limited contexts. So this could use a little bit of a change. But overall, I think you've solved the brief. You've done a good job. And kudos to Nandika. Yeah. Folks in the chat, I know you're all watching, but let's give it up. Kudos to Nandika. And let's move to the next one. And by the way, I think this is Nandika's first app, if I'm not wrong. So if I'm not wrong, okay, don't actually let me check this. Do I have that information here? I think Nandika works as a visual designer and she joined for UI UX, if I remember correctly. But anyway, killer job on this, Nandika. Yeah, especially if it's your first few apps that you've designed. Good job. And for
and
3 weeks, I would say it's
just
a
a
good
one
attempt. Yeah.
just
Hmm.
one last thing, man. Like harmony of text, right? Like I
Mm.
think we spoke about this last time in Apni Bus also. But
Mm.
then using I think they should. I mean, we should take this as a muscle memory that it should
Mm.
be a multiple of some value. Doesn't have to be a major third. Doesn't have to be a minor third. Doesn't have to be a multiple of eight.
Mm.
Has to be a multiple of something. The harmony is missing.
Mm.
So and
Spacing and
that one thing,
text for
yeah,
what?
both.
Yeah. Mm.
Basically, my go-to tool is Typescale. Like I use Typescale as a plugin to create the type system,
Mm.
and I don't have to worry about anything. Web for minor third or mobile app for minor third, and just stick to that. And while spacing, it can be practically any multiples. It can be practically a multiple of 5 also. Doesn't have to be, but that harmony will be there. Like it doesn't have to be a 4 PT or an 8 PT. It can be even 5. But something that works for
Yeah.
the app that can clean up the entire interface.
True. Yeah. I think we did notice some spacing issues while going through the prototype. And I would say, yeah, it does seem like you could give some more breathing room, especially like here. Um, okay, cool. All right, folks, let's move to the next one. Let's do it. Oh, Nandika's on the stream. Nice, Nandika. Kudos on this. And yes, looking forward to the changes. Looking forward to maybe the plus explorations, and then definitely put it together in a case study where we can just go through your process, what it was like. Yeah. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay. Next up is Shubham. And let me open this prototype. So Shubham, I think, if I remember correctly, recently graduated or about to graduate. And it's also done the same brief. Okay. Web stories come to life. Get started. I like this.
Man. Love the
Yeah, the heading font, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's log in. Play. Okay. So similar layout. Let's open one of these. Okay, so section, continue reading for you. Search has, okay, popular searches, genres. Okay, some more recommendations. Library saved for later, recent episodes. This is like my stuff. And profile, okay. Settings. Let's see what a reviews rated. AI audio, okay, completed. Episodes. Okay, so it's a kind of a playlist, I would say. Or maybe these are like chapters. Reviews. Okay. Reading experience. Okay, let's click on this half the screen.
love this one.
More stories, like, rather than yeah.
And having that Gaussian blur along with a gradient on top of that as a layer is making it
This
look.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Artemis. Okay, character. And I guess this has audio as well, although not in the Figma prototype. Yeah.
What was that button on top? The previous.
This one?
Yeah.
My guess is that it's a voice related, because it's got a Artemis, which I guess is the character's name, and this is like a play pause button. That's what it seems like to me. I mean, I wonder how long this prototype is. I'm just like clicking. I'm just reading.
I love when people use real content, man. Like,
Oh,
I
same
think,
here.
yeah,
But can you
it's
tell?
really nice.
Can you tell me, like, for folks who don't know what exactly there is? Can you give the advice?
So basically, like, not kind of an advice, it's just like the go-to way to do it is just whenever you're trying to design anything, try to design it with real content. Basically, like if you're trying to design a card for an e-commerce platform, use realistic images, use realistic text. Because if you try to use something that's visually pleasing, it might look good on that card, but then like when you try to go on scale and try to produce content on scale, then might not go well with each other. So try using real content, try using real images that can build better storytelling also.
Mm.
And can you see the button one? Like something about the button is really nice. I don't know why I'm really
This one?
fascinated about this.
This
Yeah,
one?
the curve. Yeah, it's something about it.
Mm.
Can you go to that the book specific page? Yeah, the
Yeah.
playlist.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, the button is something little bit squeezed, and or maybe it's just the visual effect of it. I'm not sure. It looks really nice.
Mm.
Kind something about that is really nice. I don't know why.
Mm. Okay. Anything we missed in the prototype? Let me actually go to the other screens. The story prototype was getting way too long. I see a post comment. It's a JRPG, not a prototype. Yeah. So, what does the JRPG stand for? Role playing game, but what's the J?
I was googling the same one. What is JRPG?
Japanese role playing game. Okay. It's like
Oh,
you kind of make choices and things like that. Okay. What else? This, okay, it's a continuous state. So if you've already read it, AI recap, first scene. Okay, got it. Interesting
okay.
feature, which is I think if you've already read a bunch of these and you want to continue, oh, I think I came back to the wrong place. This is an AI recap feature. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, I'm getting stuck here though. Okay. Let's come to the static screens. So at a very top level, oh, I think we missed this onboarding in the prototype. Okay. Genres. Okay. Onboarding and login. Okay. Should we just go through the case study? Like I just noticed Shubham's also made the case study.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go through this. So folks, let me actually this is probably a good time to share this Figjam link with all of you. So folks, here we go. Let me share this Figjam. I want you all to just quickly jump in as well. Here's the link. Copy link. Anybody with the link can view. Okay. Here you go, folks. Click the Figjam. I've just dropped it in, and I just pinned the message as well. Okay, folks, real quick, jump in here. Jump in here. Here's the Figjam. Real quick, I want you all to just drop in attendance here. Sup, yo. I can see people joining. Hey, Bhavna. What's up, Nakib, Pallavi? Folks, if you're on this stream, I've just shared the link. My suggestion, just open the link so that it shows up in your Figma recents, such that if you ever feel like, hey, I wanted to come back and check it out, you kind of have it in your drafts, not in your drafts, your recents. Yeah. Cool. Links right there, folks. But the reason I wanted to share with you is because I just want to also share this one. So let me copy link to Medium. I'll just add a link to Shubham's case study as well. But yeah, Shai, let's go through this, okay? So you might imagine your web story. Web story brought to life as a visual novel. The real-time visual novels. Okay. So, yeah. To begin my research, wanted to get an idea of the market for visual. Okay, fiction. Okay, Webtoon. I guess this is one of the top competitors in addition to Wattpad. Okay, Webtoon is the largest. 80 million MAU. Wow, I mean, how I never used Webtoon. 80 million MAU is significant. Yeah. Okay. Who is it for? Adults, teens, gamers. Okay. Um, Webtoon creators have created over 1 million titles. Wattpad has 500 million stories. Wow. The process of creating a 1 hour visual is significant. Even after using
Web
Gen AI, it takes
there
a
for decades, man. I remember using it like during college days. I
very
mean,
familiar name, but yeah,
if you
I
go and
wouldn't
see
be
the
able to tell you what
historical
it looks
logo,
like.
if you
Yeah.
see an historical logo, you might see it. It's an animated platform where you just use text to create animated videos.
Okay.
18 million active users. I'm not able to.
Yeah. Okay. Process of creating a visual novel. Okay. What's the process? Um, Story, characters, storyboarding, inking. Okay, fine. Creating the artwork takes 6 to 12 hours per page. I like the flow of this case study, by the way, Shubham. Good point, which is you've actually, the chat we had seen earlier, which is like what exactly is the problem being solved. I think you've done a good job at communicating that, talking about how it's already a huge space, right? If an app exists in the market with these many million global MAUs, definitely it shows that there is a need for it.
Yeah.
And going specific, okay, let's continue reading. Going specific, I think the point Shivam is trying to make is that the whole point is that you can improve the um, creation process. Because if you do have, 1 million titles, 500 million titles, like there's no chance you can actually do this manually. Um, and even if you did, okay, it's 6 to 12 hours per page. Um, okay.
I mean, the key takeaways from the user interviews. Interestingly, all 3 points are going to justify what he has done. But on a case study, this could have had a huge dominance, like in terms of visual, or maybe make it more bolder and put it right up front.
Mm,
Because when obviously design managers go through it, they just skim as much as possible.
mm,
And the three takeaways are like
mm,
really, really important.
mm. So you're saying make this more prominent, like maybe include a visual for
Yeah.
this? Okay, got
One,
it.
and secondly, like a data to support that, like a
Got it.
percentage or like some from any resource available on the internet, a literature review basically.
Got it. Okay. Pain points. Um, Format, releases. Mm. Makes sense that this is the pain point, but I'd still say the big pain point is for the creator. The pain, like this is for consumers, the pain point, and I guess the creator pain point is this. Um, okay, decided to do some competitor benchmarking. Pratilipi, Kuku FM, Pocket FM. Yeah, I think we just saw this one. Pratilipi, Kuku FM, Pocket FM. Okay. Common patterns. All right. Validate features. Okay. I'm going to skip this. Let's move forward. What is it? The onboarding home search library profile. Continue reading is a returning user for you for screen reading screen. Okay. Looks fine. Theoretical work was done for Natapau. Small note here, folks. I like that Shivam has created these custom visuals in the sense that like normal, like you could directly put your notebook images right here, but he's created like the slide with the text wireframes. I mean, just a small thing, but it's cool. Okay, visual design. Here's a quick view of the style branding. Okay, so I think he started with the brand. Um, I'm missing some stuff. This image is not loading for me. Maybe I should just open the case study directly. Oh, okay, got it. There we go. Branding. This is the Woody logo. One possible issue is maybe this is too similar to Wattpad, the W. I don't know. Yeah. Colors. Station. Mm-hmm. Okay. Before it, let the screen be shown before. Okay. Streamlined onboarding. Yeah, okay. We saw this. Homepage. Okay, 3 genres. Jacob's Law, familiarity principle. Okay.
Actually, he has done justice to that, like with
Mm.
the Jacob.
Mm. Let me actually just open this in my browser. Just seeing Figjam is giving me issue. Safari. Chalo. Okay, that's way better. Where were we? Okay. So home screen, top bar with search icon, logo, trending stories on the app. For you. Top genres, trending stories of the week. Okay. I think I like this card design, which is, you can see here, folks, same card, but this has less metadata. Main reason being, if somebody is browsing here, you can't show them a lot of information up front. But I think when you go into the see all, it expands these cards out and shows more metadata. Basically, you can also read the description. Good point including that. Yeah, does help with decision making. What do I choose? Story information screen. Okay. Continue. Okay, so there's some states here. Let's go through this. Name of the story. Continue. This is conditional. So users reading for the first time. Okay, fine. Read now and continue. Okay, there's an AI recap and what do you think about this feature, Shai? For users, search bar. I didn't understand what is the search bar.
Yeah, even
I think it's to search for the episode here, so to avoid scrolling, I guess. Initially, I thought that was a button.
for the first time.
This is fine. This is good.
Oh, it's the street, like before reading. I mean, before watching and after watching.
But do you think it's a
So
good
he's
idea
just
putting the search bar here with a button? Because it kind of feels related to each other, but it's not.
yeah. That I was feeling the same.
Hmm.
And do you need a search for an episode number? That's also a question.
Yeah, because if it's episode number,
Yeah,
maybe you could directly have
a keyword search.
keyword search. Yeah. I would think about this, Shubham. I think this is fine. Although I'd say instead of search for episode number, you could probably change this state to say search for episode number, keywords, etc., or something like that. Because I don't think number is the only thing that's searchable. In this one though, it's kind of looking like I searched something and then I hit this. So these are feeling related, but they're two separate actions. So I would do something about this state. Yeah.
Actually, the proximity is failing. Can you go to the left hand side? The screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the search is related to the episodes, while the AI recap is for what I watched on a holistic level, on a whole overall level. So I would rather move that AI recap away from that episode container. The search can exist over there, and AI recap has to come above it or something.
It's like here.
With a different color. Yeah. And there are two colors, two series with the same color. That also should be avoided.
Hmm. You think it's possible to make it one of the main actions, or it should stay secondary and lower
Should be
somewhere?
second. It should be a tertiary action, or maybe add to library can be even smaller because like he's watching. So that can be the tertiary button. And while the AI recap can be the secondary one. Can.
Makes sense. So, folks, just to give a quick recap, what we just said, continue needs to be your primary action, right? Because that's what I click to continue reading. Now, if I was a first time user, this would be primary, this would be secondary, add to library. What we were just discussing though was this AI recap. It's inside the episodes thing, but ideally it should be outside. Maybe it should be outside the episodes thing because it's not specific to episodes, it's specific to the whole novel itself. But the other thing we were just discussing is right now, let's say with this is primary, this is secondary, and this is kind of tertiary, but I mean, in style, it's still primary. Maybe it might make sense for this returning state to actually deprioritize add to library, maybe make it just an icon. What happened?
Escape.
Yeah. Maybe it makes sense to make the okay, where were we? The AI recap, oh man. Let me switch back to Figjam. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it makes sense to make AI recap the secondary action when you return, and the add to library can maybe just become an icon. Because if you're already reading, isn't it already in your library in that case, if I'm reading it? Because
Yeah.
I guess it would be, right? So maybe this shouldn't be there in that second case. I like
And
the feature though. Yeah.
again, in AI recap,
Hmm.
we are having continued reading.
Hmm.
Doesn't feel natural for some reason. The story is right,
Hmm.
but the CTA and the component somewhat doesn't work right. It feels like
Coming
an
from the
action to
visual
the AI
perspective.
recap. It possibly just should be a secondary button, even though there's only one button existing over there. Because that's kind of making me feel like there's an action that's, I don't know, like something related to AI recap is happening over there, but it's not that. It's the going back to watching the video, or watching the novel.
Got it. So basically, what you're saying is this could probably be a secondary style.
Just a second. In here, in AI recap.
Actually, one thing you could also do is probably not show the button till you reach the bottom, till you've read it.
Yeah. That fixed is making me feel that, I guess. Yeah.
Because see, just thinking out loud, I can understand fixed. The advantage might be that at all times I can always move forward. But I would say if I clicked this to read, maybe this should show up halfway through, or maybe only towards the end, because I don't think somebody will immediately click this. And the point which Shai made, right, having it fixed kind of feels like to move for, like, it doesn't feel like scroll is the main action. It feels like I need to click this first. Okay.
Maybe it should have been a mini button on right top. Can be. I'm not sure.
Personally, though, I would say nice to have. I mean, kind of works, but yeah, I mean, it just, worth thinking
possibly
about.
what could have done is like you said, we could have removed the button remove the back navigation, and just have a close action at the bottom. It can be fixed also. You just keep scrolling and close it off. Because I'm here to read the AI recap. So just close
Got
it
it.
and then continue.
Okay. So basically, what you're saying is instead of AI recap taking you to the story, it should bring you back here, and
Yeah.
then you hit continue if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So then you could just have a close button hovering here.
Yeah.
Yeah, possible. Folks, just let me get a little meta for a sec. If you're watching this, you might be thinking, fuck, like how do I decide what's the right approach here? Right? Because they both, you can kind of see the pros and cons. My suggestion to you guys, think if you ever come across this scenario where you have these multiple things and you're not able to decide, my suggestion, design both, and whichever you think is best, go with that. However, in an interview or in a like a real design review, it's very likely that if you thought of it, your stakeholder or collaborators will also think about it. And so when the conversation comes up, like, did you consider XYZ, whatever, then you can be like, oh yeah, let me show you the option B, which I initially rejected. Here's what it is, situation. Here's why I picked this. And then question, what do you think can be done? Okay. Where were we?
At the bottom.
Yeah. So story reading screen. Yeah. Yes, it was AI generated audio, by the way. This button thing we saw. Left and right, it's like stories. So just like Instagram, Snapchat stories. AI recap.
But again, the button is not really telling that, okay, it's an audio thing, but maybe just a dominant audio symbol could have done that. Doesn't feel like clicking. It just feels like a tag on top of the text, but a great accessibility feature. But kind of doesn't give that vibe to click.
You're saying maybe it could be a play button or something?
It should have been just a play button, and
Yeah.
the placement is also making me feel like it's a tag, not a play. That's the only thought. But it's a great accessibility feature. Like that's what every designer should be thinking, right? Like when you design, you're designing for almost everyone. So, and that's a good thing. But again, it's not accessible for serving that purpose.
Okay.
Oh, here.
Tap left, tap right. Tap-based story progression avoids the wall of text. Nice. Accessibility, audio controls, and brightness. Okay. I think we didn't see this in the prototype, but let's see it now. So
it's very well done.
Cool. Just a small thing. I would probably not. I would change this transparent thing on top.
Yep.
Personally, I just don't like these transparent nav bars. Mostly because it just makes the background come through way more. So I would probably either make this blurry, make the background blur here, or maybe make it darker. Maybe just use gradient or something like that. Just a visual thing. Okay. Okay, we were here. Other key features, search.
This hierarchy is nice. Like it's very common among almost all the products that we have used.
Yeah. A very familiar looking style, like most content heavy apps, if you think about it. So Spotify, YouTube, maybe some of these other apps like, Wattpad and stuff. Very familiar UI. So good job on this. One note here though, Shubham. This is now more of a attention to detail thing. See, overall this is great, but I will get into attention to detail because that's the one remaining thing here. So look at this, right? We can't be friends. Like, let's assume that's the search keyword I typed. The suggestions though here are showing iOS, right? So again, just a small thing, but point is this component that you've picked up, the keyboard component, you can actually hide these suggestions, or you can change these suggestions to be real suggestions based on what's being typed. Now again, not a big deal. Not like this will affect the design or something. I mean, later when it gets developed, but from a design perspective, I like just closing all these loops, like to avoid like the term I like to use is you shouldn't break immersion, right? Like we are going through this. Of course, it's a design. It's not a real app yet, but it should feel like a real app. That's when you know, oh, you've done a killer job. So I would just kind of change this. Yeah. Maybe show the search results. Okay, it's still being typed.
Yeah.
Again, small one, but something to think about, which is if there's no go button here, right? Like search. So my guess is that this shows up as I'm typing. It's autofill, auto suggest. In that case, I think you should just change this to be just W to show people that the auto suggest is just starting. And then here, when it's done, the results have loaded. Right? Because in this, just the way I think about another way to think about it for you guys, as designers, we look at things as screen A, screen B, screen C, and then you go like this. But users don't see it as a screen. They see it as one continuous space. They're like, my phone screen has this stuff going on it. And so while designing, you might be like A to B transition. But for a user, A to B transition at 60 FPS is like 60 frames that happen between every transition. Right. So anyway, point being, just be a little mindful of that. Right? This thing over here. Yeah. Pro tip, let's just say. It's a small one, but nice to have. Cool. I think we're going to wrap up in a bit. I think we're reaching towards the end of this case study. Let me switch to my browser. Just a quick note, Shivam. Maybe you've already done this, but Medium, you have a lot of big images on Medium. And my suggestion would be compress these images using tiny PNG before uploading it on Medium. Because I have observed that sometimes when you have a lot of images in Medium, it can sort of start hanging, right? Either the image won't load, or what just happened to me, like the forced reload is happening. Just something to keep in mind, especially when you have a lot of big images. Compress the images, tinypng.com, then add them here. Okay. Cool. I think we're coming towards the end. We just saw search, library. Okay. So future considerations, revenue model. Cool. Multi-language support, more narrative based where there are choices. Yeah, right now it's a linear flow, but yeah, it is possible to do given that it's a RPG style. Cool. Awesome. Kudos, Shubham. Folks, definitely drop some claps here. I'm not signed in right now, but I'll do this later. Nice one. Give it in the chat, folks, for Shubham. And let me come back here. Mm. So, Shai, I think that's about it. We've come roughly towards the end. But overall, any final thoughts? Yeah.
From my end, just a brilliant job, man. Like I love both the projects. On a case study front, uh, we just saw one case study, but what my thought was running behind, I mean, the thought that I had was the delta is not spoken. What is URI lacking that I designed can push that particular metric, right? The design that I've done has to move some goal that I have. It can be a business goal, it can be a product goal. And what is a metric that's associated to it? You have to measure that, right? So any good case study will end with what is the expected push or the delta change that we are actually moving forward with. It can be done with a simple usability testing by using Maze. Maze is a great tool. It's a very simple tool that you could use. translate your Figma link into a Maze link, and then when you share it with say 100 plus people in your community, they will start using your tool. They can say where are the misclick rates available and all of it. That has to be a part of your case study. That talks about how mature of a designer that you are, right? So the delta that you have moved, and how did you come with that metric that you pushed, right? It can be a test user data. It's not a realistic data. It's not going into production, but still it has a huge impact for the person who's reading your case study. So try using Maze. It's a great way to translate that into visuals.
Folks, real quick, the tool that Shai just mentioned is called Maze. So if you guys want to check it out, I'll just drop that here. Yeah. So if I got that right, Shai, let me just say what you said. So what you're saying is, yes, even though this is hypothetical and you won't have real metrics, as a designer, you need to know what's the outcome that will happen with this. Like, we had a before, now there's an after. But what happens after the after, which is this is expected to, for example, number one, improve discovery on the platform. Number two, something else. Number three, something else. Is that what you meant, Shai?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have
Got
to
it.
be realistic data. It doesn't have to be a production ready data.
Mm.
But then there should be some goal that we are trying to move. It can be a business goal, it can be a product goal, and a user goal. So that is what we should be chasing. And every case study should
Got it.
say that.
Got it. And so would it be maybe include in terms of AARR, like this can help activate the users because of this. This can be for
Yeah.
retaining users, which
The
is
AI,
the library.
basically, the AI recap is what is engaging the user to go forward with watching the novel one more time. Could also be a metric that you can talk about. It can be absolutely any metric that you have moved with the redesign that you have done. So as a product design case study, this looks really, really nice. But as a UX case study, what I'm trying to achieve, even though it's there in my mind, it has to be there in the case study.
Got it. And so yes, probably he can include it here with every section. What's the possible metric moved? Cool, guys. That was it for our demo day. What I'll really quickly do is let me just remove this case study from here. You guys can, if you want to check out the case study, go check the link. I just realized maybe I'm taking away views from Shubham's case study because people will directly see it here. Whatever. All right, folks. So that's about it for tonight's episode. Overall, you all do have the link, so feel free to check it out. Other than that, if you want to check out some of the other episodes we've done so far, if you've not seen so, we've got this one, which we did Alpha Shine, we did Upnibus. That's on the channel. Check it out for sure. Besides that, if you're interested in enrolling, definitely applications are only open for a few more weeks. So we're planning to start in July. And so we're going to close applications pretty soon. If you're interested, now would be a good time to put it in. If you want to work on problem statements like this, but it's challenging and you want to do it in a collaborative environment, this would be the place for you. Oh, and Shubham's on stream as well. Okay, awesome. Cool, guys. Thanks a lot and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Hey, cool, man.